So the topic we have today is what every entrepreneur is itching to hear, and that is how to raise capital for various business ideas. It's one thing to have a business idea, is another thing to be able to fund your business idea. And that is one common problem many people have. That's why they say the grave is the richest place on earth. So we're about to circumvent all of that. What we're about to hear today are things that we can implement. All right, I want to share my screen. There are strategies that have been implemented, and there are things that you can easily do and make 2024 the best year yet for you. Okay, so let me go ahead and share. I like to work with slides. It makes it very easy for me while we wait for other. We're not waiting for them, but at least while we are preparing, they will be joining us. Okay. So if you can see my screen, give me a 1 there. I want to believe you can see my screen, but still give me a 1 so that I know I'm talking to my people. If you can see my screen, give me a 1. Simply give me a 1. If you can see my screen, you should be seeing my beautiful face on the screen now. Fantastic. All right. So like I said, the topic we have to treat today is 7 fastest ways to raise funds for your business idea. So before I delve into that, if you don't have a pen and paper, turn around and get a journal, because you're going to be hearing several things that you will need to pen down and begin to practice, because we don't want to be hearers and not doers. All right. So what should our expectation be today? Today, like I said, you'll gain actionable insights and practical strategies in the webinar that will empower you to turn your entrepreneurial dreams into financial reality. So people are scared of, going in to become entrepreneurs because they are afraid that their salaries may not carry them. But from what we're going to hear today, anybody can build an empire as long as you put into practice what we are going to discuss here today. So I need you to take a minute and think. I need you to think and answer this question today before we go into what we are going to do today. If you were desperate to increase your financial strength in the next 30 days, how would you go about it? How would you go about it? For some, they will say they will go back to school. For some, they will say, I'll get a better job. I'll get a better pay. For some, they'll, what would you do if you really needed to increase your financial strength in the next 30 days? And the answer to this is what you're going to hear today. The answer to this, all right? From what you're going to get here today, the next 30 days, so the vision we have here today is that at the end of our class here, everybody here would have been armed with vital tools, with insights, with practical strategies that they can implement and start off their businesses. The business idea you have, or even if you do not have a business idea yet, you're here, you want to increase your financial strength, but you don't know how to go about it. Listen and listen attentively. But like I said, do not be listeners, be doers as well. So you need to pen it down so that after this class, you're going to revisit it, okay? So my journey so far, why am I passionate about this? Why do I think, and why do I think I have the right to come and talk to you about this today? I'll tell you quickly, just quickly. Like you heard, like I said earlier, my name is Chinaya Anadere, and my entrepreneurial journey actually started so many years ago, 2010 to be precise. Without going deeply into it, I worked briefly with the bank, and then I had my baby, and I was told to resign or resume after a month. I took the option of quitting the job because I didn't want to go back to the office with a month-old baby. And that was where my tale of woes that ended up, converting me to what I am today started. Shortly after I quit that job, my husband's business crashed, and I needed to, do something about finances for my family. We were desperate, and I entered so many businesses. But the hiccup I encountered that led to the 9-figure business I was able to build, as you will get to know, is what I want to share with you today. The first business I was able to do was a pastry business, because one Friday morning, my baby was hungry, and I needed 3,000 to buy my baby's food. I called a friend of mine, and she said all she had was 20K, that I should wait for the husband to get back. She would know how much the husband had, then she would know how much to give me. A very painful story for me. It used to be painful, but now I have come to realize that without that, the Chinonya you have today wouldn't have come to be. So that angered me. First, I was angry with my friend, and I realized that she owed me nothing. Most of you are angry with people you expect to help you. I realized she owed me nothing. It was her money and it was her decision to do with it whatever she pleased. And then I was angry with the bank and I said I wasn't going to work with the bank again. Then I entered entrepreneurship and it wasn't easy. By the time I started to, continue with that business, and I needed to increase, I needed money, I needed capital, and I know that is where most of you here are now. I needed capital and I needed to think out ways to get that money to get that business up and going. All right, so with the little money I saved from the pastry business and what my husband was able to give me, I became a distributor with, eventually 3 multinational companies, May and Baker, Maltonic, and Best Noodles. I'm giving you facts and figures. But at every point in time as a business person, you want to scale up your business. And then you keep encountering the problem of finding how to finance your business. It's one thing to have a dream. It's another thing to have the capacity, the capability to actually better your dream. So this is not for just starters. What we are going to discuss here today is not just for those who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs. It is for those who are existing entrepreneurs, because if you're operating at level 20 and you want to scale up to level 40%, you need to inject capital into it. Even as you want to scale up to 60 to 100%, as the case may be, you will need to inject capital. And you see this problem, it keeps coming up and coming up. But the strongest problem I had was when I wanted to grow from a distributor to a major vendor. Opportunities come your way, but opportunities are better maximized by those who have the resources. So there I was. I won't tell you that story so I don't waste your time and my time. But there I was with the opportunity of being a major vendor in the sense that I had the opportunity to begin to supply all the secondary schools in FCT. I'm talking to you from Abuja, by the way. But I didn't have the money. What did I do? The principles I applied is what I'm going to share with you today. But one thing I did that, and something happened that got me upset, that expanded my mind. Apart from whatever you're going to hear today, what I want you to achieve is that expansion of mind. Some of us have enclosed ourselves into one tiny box and we don't know that our minds are elastic. I needed that money to inject into the capital, and I called up a friend, my classmate in the university, a guy. He was doing so well, traveling around, had his businesses all around. And I pitched my business to him and I said, I needed capital. And he was so excited with me. And he said, okay, what you have to do now is go and call an edit, what do they call them again? Financial, what do you want? Auditors. He said I should get an auditor to audit my business. He needed to see how well my business was doing, to know how much he was going to inject into the business. Ladies and gentlemen, I did get an auditor, and I paid hundreds of thousands to audit my business. And that was the last I heard of this guy. He vanished on me. He vanished. I kept calling. There I was with my audited account in my hand, showing how much I had done so much. There I was with it in my hands, and I was calling this guy, the investor, come and invest into this business, and he disappeared on me. Now, what was I to do? I had this business. I had the opportunity that people were lobbying for. God dropped it into my hands, and I knew that the wrongest thing I should do was to let the opportunity slip through my fingers. And I can still picture myself sitting on my floor in my sitting room. Then I was living in Cuba. I was sitting and I was asking myself, what do I do? What do I do? And bam, the first thing I'm going to tell you today was what I did. And I grew this business, but enough of me. So let's get into that. Now I derive pleasure in showing people exactly what I'm about to show you today, because I know that many people are passing through what I passed through. You have an opportunity that you know is only from God, can only come from God, and it's about to slip through your fingers because you lack the capital to bet it. Because you lack the capital to bring it to fruition. So listen and listen good. The first thing I want to tell you today is that you know. I'm going to start with the ones you know before I delve into the ones you may not have known or thought about. So back to our topic, the 7 fastest ways exposed. Number 1 there is, I call it brilliant bootstrapping. And there I said you start with what you have in your hands. Most times starting is about resourcefulness over resources. I said I'll start with what you know. What is that thing you have in your hand? What can you dispose of? How can you raise money? How can you start with what you have? When I wanted to start the business, the only amount I had could only start changing I don't know how many of you pastry, I call it pastry to give it beautiful name. It was actually changing business I was able to do because I needed to put food on my table. I needed my children to feed. And I'll fry that chinchin and I'll carry it to the supermarket. At times I'll get 2,000, 3,000 and I'll find food to cook for my family. That was where I started. And I tell people today, do not despise the days of little beginning. Bootstrapping, what do you have in your hands? You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to build a 7-figure business. You want to build an 8-figure business. You want to build a 9-figure business. You want to leave your footprints on the sands of earth. You want your name to be known. And you're waiting for that, your uncle. You're waiting for your mother's brother. You're waiting for your village head. You're waiting for who to give you grant. What do you have in your hand? Start with it. I'm not going to spend so much time on this because this is self-explanatory, but I wanted to say it first. I started with chinchin frying, and it was the money I saved because I started reading as well. And I read one of the greatest books ever. If you don't read, cultivate the habit of reading. I read The Richest Man in Babylon, and the man told us the importance of keeping a part of your earning. He said 10%, but I took it a notch further. I wasn't saving 10%. I was saving practically more than 50%. And it was the money I saved from that chinchin that I used to start the distributorship business. The first company I was able to join was May and Baker Nigeria PLC. You know them. You know MIB Paracetamol. You know, they had gold, silver, bronze. But of course, I was able to start with the bronze. But I worked that business and I grew to become their major distributor in the whole of the northern region. But I started with what I had in my hand. So what do you have in your hand? Think about it, write it down. You should be able to start with what you have in your hand. All right. It is not a mystery. Like I said, these are practical things that you know you can do today. Then let us move into the deeper ones. The number 2 there is crowdfunding, but I called it improvised crowdfunding. You know the amazing thing about what we are going to hear today, I'm not telling you what the textbooks, I'm telling you the practical things that happened, both the ones that happened to me, the ones that happened with people I know, so that you equally can implement it in your life. So number 2 is improvised crowdfunding. And I said you rally the crowd, turn backers into believers, harness the power of your community. You consider the assets within your reach, your skills, your networks, the inherent strength in your community. Sometimes the best investment starts with the currency of local connections, and I'll tell you exactly what that meant. When I was a distributor with May and Baker, and that opportunity to begin to supply to schools came up, I didn't have the money. And this, my friend, had disappointed me. He made me audit my account and he vanished on me. But there I was with a rare opportunity that people lobbied to get. And I was asking myself, what did I do to come out of that? I sat on my floor. I wasn't sitting on the dining room. I sat on the floor and I picked my phone. Ladies, you need to be ingenious. And I wrote out all the names on my phone. The mistake we make when we are saying, okay, we want to call people, want to crowdfund, you're telling them to dash you. You're calling them to give you money. No, I wasn't asking for arms. I was giving them something in return. Then a bag of rice was 10,000 naira. And I had the opportunity of supplying rice, beans, everything, milk, sugar to these schools. The only thing I didn't supply was things that smell, crayfish and fish. And I came up with this. I said, okay, I was calling my friends, my enemies, my colleagues, everybody. I said, for every bag of rice you bring, you get 500 naira. People will invest where there is something coming out for them. The mistake you have been making is going to tell somebody, lend me this, lend me that. No, nobody wants to lose money. Before this can work, I want to believe that you have a certain level of integrity, by the way. I called them, I said, for every bag of rice you buy, you get 500 naira. That is for every 10,000, you get 500 naira. And people were investing. Now, they didn't have to know that I was buying beans, I was buying spaghetti, I was buying this. I needed to make it as simplified as possible. All right. Now, I remembered something I should have told you. Let me go back. When I was talking about starting with what you have, there was another thing that happened when I started. When I started as a distributor, I could only gather the money from my pastry business, and I started at the bronze level, like I told you. So there was no money to pay for a warehouse. Warehouse was luxury. So no office, no warehouse. And what did I do? I pleaded with my husband. I said, please, can you share your office? He had an office in Lozumba complex. Yeah, that's there. And that office was on second floor. Hi, guys, you're not understanding what I'm saying. That office was on the second floor. Okay, I need to make someone co-host. Okay, sorry. All right, he's a co-host already. I knew that I needed that business to stand, but I didn't have the money. And he was on second floor. I wasn't thinking of the stress of carrying the cartons to second floor. All I knew was that I needed my business to stand. How strong is your desire? When your desire is strong, a way will emerge. One thing we struggle with is having a strong desire. We shall want it. And it sounds like what I want. You're not desperate now, but you're not that completely sold into that. When you're sold, a way will emerge. He divided his office, and that was where I started. It was stressful. The company will bring cartons, will bring, the products, and I'll carry it to the second floor. Do you know what it meant? That if I'm going to sell it, I'll carry it from the second floor down again. Of course, you should know that I didn't employ any. Where was the money to employ? By the second year, he had a place he had paid, he wanted to use as a laundry. It was a first floor in Kubwa. I came again. In fact, people were using it as a case study. Come and see this woman, she's carrying cartons. I was the only one that knew what was chasing me. But by the time I finished with that year, I was able to pay for a warehouse the way I wanted. I was able to employ staff. I was able to buy my vehicles. I was able to grow that business to have 3 depots. So you need to start with what you have. I remember this and I needed to share that. So let's go back to number 2 that we're talking about. All right. So I said the mistake you make here is when you're telling people to dash you money. Nobody dashes you anything, especially when they struggle to make the money. There is no arm giver anyway. There's no Messiah. You need to learn to be your Messiah. All right. So I said what I did was I told them for every 10,000 you bring, they were going to get 500. You think they invested? Yes, they invested. Because I wasn't begging them for money. I wasn't asking for alms. So you need to think out ways. Think out ways. The problem you have, the solution is there in your hand. I need our minds to expand. As I'm telling you these stories, I need you to think deeply. What can you do? What can you bring? How do you do it? That's why I said you need a journal and a pen if you want to get value from this. Number 3 is what I call elevate your pitch in 2 minutes. Make it brief. I call it localized angel investors. Like I said, there are several ways people use, but I'm telling us what an average person can use, can implement. And within 30 days, you're raising the capital you need. In less than 30 days, if you do these things I'm telling you today, in less than a week, you should be able to raise the money that you want to use to start your business. I'm telling you, because 30 days is too far. You're talking about 30 days that you have already started your business. So I call that localized angel investors. And what do I mean here? And again, I'll tell you with the stories of what has happened. So when those people brought in the monies and I started the business, of course, every entrepreneur, you want to grow. If you're at a place and you're not growing, you will begin to die. That's why they said a man or woman that stops to go starts to die. A tree you plant that is not growing cannot, yield fruits. And the next thing is you're cutting it off. So when I got to that level where I needed to expand, I told you that I grew that business to have 3 depots. So I needed to expand the business. And of course, I had gone to the bank. Oh, don't think I just started doing all of this. I had done the natural things that an average person can do. For example, I knew that when I needed to expand, I went to First Bank and I was only looking for 5 million. There was that fantastic, juicy offer that I got where I was unanimously chosen by the Secondary Education Board to supply all the secondary schools. And I took it to First Bank and I thought they would jump at it. What else can be secured than, to show somebody and they already started paying me. They were seeing the transfers from FCTA. So it wasn't that it was a far-fetched dream. It was clear. It was in my hands. But did I get that 5 million? No. They told me to get a warehouse close to the market. I did. Did they give me that money? No. I didn't get a kobo from First Bank, but I did get from this. Angel investors, when you hear about the angel investors, they sound so vague and all that. So I'm going to bring it down. That's why I called it localized. What did I do? I started asking questions. I'm an introvert, as you're seeing me, but when it comes to business, I dey talk. I started asking questions. So I asked someone who asked someone who asked someone who asked someone who asked someone. Do you get the drill? You get the drift? You need to understand that you're 5 persons away from your helper. I was talking to parents when I go for school runs, I was talking to parents. I needed someone that knew, someone that had money that wanted to invest. But understand, it wasn't a hearsay. I had written out some things. I had my account details. I had my business procedures. I had what I was doing. I wasn't going as a layman. I didn't learn all these things from school. I learned the crude way, the AKA, the brick and mortar way. I was learning because I needed to make this work. And then the first person, boom, my friend, we were not friends, but we finished from the same school, but that made us friends now. She had a cousin who was a lecturer who had money hanging around, and I presented this to him. Do you know, there are 5 things I think, or I know, may have helped me in securing that. Because I tell you, once you hit the first one, the remaining ones will come, pop, 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 pop. There was no long story. Whatever you want to do has to be clear, has to be precise, has to be concise. No long story. I drew up a plan that was very clear. I showed my track record. It wasn't built on the air. You know, it wasn't a case of I hope to make money. The business was already doing well to an extent, and I needed to increase my capital. I needed to expand. So I showed my track record. If you don't have your business documented, for those who already have a business, you're not doing something right. If you have not started a business, be sure that when you start, you're going to document it. And I was bold and confident. And finally, I let my passion flow. See, there are 2 things here. Passion coming from someone who knows what she's doing or what he's doing is different from passion from someone who doesn't know anything. If you get a doctor, 2 doctors, one is very passionate, I'm going to operate on you and you'll be good and all that. And they say, have you done this surgery before? No, I have not, but I know what to do. And then you have another person who is that passionate and has done it before. I'm sure you know what the answer will be. So for those of you already in the business and you're looking at scaling it up, this will work for you, okay? Write out your plan, no long story, draw up a plan. Show your track record. But for those who may not have gone into business, and I know you're here today, you can still equally use this. For this to work, I want to believe that you have great integrity. And I'll tell you where that helps. Don't think that what you're doing now will not affect you in future. Everything you do turns around to bite you in the butt. Because the people that trusted me to do this had already seen that I could be trusted. So even if you have made a lot of mistakes in the past, begin to correct your errors today so that it will not be a hindrance to your growth tomorrow. I'm not here to preach. I just wanted to say this, all right? So the first person I got was a cousin to a parent in one of my children's schools, and he invested. I think the first money he brought was 3 million, and then he increased it to 5 million and all that. How do you think that helped my business? That was what gave me the leeway to create a mantra, and that mantra was, any order that came in must be supplied. How do you think I fared? Amazingly. So let's move on. The number 4 is what? Form strategic partnerships and alliances. No man is an island. There's a Chinese proverb I heard that if you want to start a business, you learn how to, I don't know how my husband said it. I think he said if you're an entrepreneur, then you must be smiling, or if you can't smile, you can't be an entrepreneur, something like that. So you need to form strategic partnerships and alliances. I'm an introvert, like I said. Aside business, I recoil and I stay on my own. I read my books, that's my greatest companion. But when it comes to business, I form the strategic partnerships that is required. All right, because you need to leverage allies. Remember that 2 good heads or wallets are better than one, as the case may be. And there are 2 ways you can do this. You can partner with individuals or you can partner with businesses. In the case of partnering with businesses, let the business be such that aligns with your values. You don't want to lose your personality. You don't want to lose your essence because you're doing business. You don't want to lose your soul because you're doing business. And I'll tell you again how this worked for me. I have a friend, my very good friend. When this thing came up, I had to start looking for ways. Like I said, I'll keep saying it. Remember that what we're looking at 7 ways to raise capital for our business. And like I said, 2024 is a year to conquer. This is the year that all your dreams must come true. And what dream can you have, all right, that will not entail you, injecting money into it? So if you've not been listening, pay attention. So she went to the same university with me. I was just a year ahead. And when I needed this, I needed people to inject money, and I called her. And she invested 3 million naira into it. No, if you're here, you're saying, but I don't have people like that. I didn't have. People will not have money until you have proven to them that that money they have kept in their safe is what's investing in you. Trust me, I never knew she had. But when I brought up this, she invested and she went ahead to stake her neck for me amongst our colleagues in the office. Last year, this was some years back, but last year, a cousin of mine called me and he wanted me to invest in his business. And I dragged my feet. I was like, money is one thing that can cause problem between siblings. I wanted to be very careful. And I called this friend. I said, what made you invest in my business? What gave you the confidence to put that money? And she said something that shocked me. Even though I hadn't done business in school, I hadn't done any form of business, but she said she had seen how prudent I have been with money. She had seen me grow from chin-chin seller to a distributor with May and Baker, to a distributor with Mortonic, to a distributor with Bestie Noodles. She has seen me grow from nothing, only injecting the proceeds of that business back into the business. And she knew that she could trust her money with me. Ladies and gentlemen, they are watching. People are seeing you. People are seeing how you're prudent with 100 naira. People are seeing how you're managing your table business. People are seeing how you're managing your small business, and it will come around to serve you when the need arises. Don't look down on that your small business. And that taught me a lesson. She invested, her friend, what was her name again? Invested, and that blew up my business. So when I say I grew a business to 9 figures, this was how I made it happen. All right? You can do the same too. The problem you have is when you don't want to share your profits. This may be the undoing of some people. You want to spend all the money. You want to be the one, eating all the money. You don't want. Making 30% is better than making nothing. Yes. You may have to let go of some profits to be able to get in some capital. I hope you're following me. I want to finish this in 60 minutes and I'm rushing. Okay. Number 5 there is what? Credit facilities from suppliers. This one is the bomb for me. This was what gave my business the first wings to fly. When I joined May and Baker, I didn't have the money to buy a truckload. I could only start at the bronze level, and the bronze level was 600,000. And they had people who were doing silver 3 million, they were doing gold 5 million. I was the only person doing 600. It was small, but that was what I could start with the little money and what my husband added. But I knew that I wanted this business to do well, and they were seeing me, and when I approached them for credit facilities, it was not even an arguable thing. The manager was there and saw how tenacious I was to grow. What was happening was I'll finish selling and I'll wait for others to place their order and I'll add mine. So they were like, this is slowing you down. How can we make this work? Can we give you a truckload? And that was the first time I got a truckload. A truckload of noodles starts from 3,000, and they shipped the first truckload. And I sold and sent back the money. And I sold it before others could even sell off half trucks or whatever. Because I was pushing, because I was thinking outside the box, because I was communicating with them. And that's why open communication and confidence is the first thing you have there. But that was the first thing that made my business blow. And then I got to a stage where I needed the buses. You can't be a distributor without vehicles. And how was I going to buy these buses? I needed the buses. I had taken the bold step to open up another depot in Buari. I had a depot in Kubwa, I had a depot in Buari, and I had staff and they needed vehicles. I approached the company. By the way, when I was dreaming of that vehicle, you need to dream big. My husband was saying, where do you want to get the money? Do you have another money somewhere? Maybe you have the money. I don't want to tell me. I said, no, once there's a will, there will surely be a way. And I drew up a plan. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be afraid to draw up your plan. Put your plan on paper. It's even in the Bible. The Bible says, write it down that whoever sees it runs with it. Some of you, your ideas are in your head. You're too afraid to pen it down. You're too afraid to share it. Clearly articulate your needs. Demonstrate the value of a collaborative partnership and outline a transparent repayment plan. Let them know. And I drew up a plan. And the company bought those 2 buses. because I shown them a transparent repayment plan. So now my depot in Kubwa had a bus added in addition to one I had bought, and the depot in Buhari had a bus added with no penny coming from me. You can get credit facilities from your suppliers if you give them if you give them a transparent repayment plan. That's why I said integrity is key. Also, when my husband he was in IT, and I remember when he wanted to run, leave the company where he was working to start his own, he didn't have the money to start, but he approached the company. Then he was installing VSATs and all of that. And what were they doing? He will approach a customer and close a deal with a customer. If I supply this, and after closing the deal, he will go to the company and collect the product and supply to the customer. The customer, seeing the confidence with which he was speaking, will never know that this guy talking to you does not have the product he has promised to give you. Some of us, fear is holding us down. When he collects from the company, he will now take to the customer and then take the money back to the company and take his profits. Credit facilities can give your business that boost that you're looking for. You can do that. You can get it from any supplier you have. It depends on the business you're doing. So if you do this well, you foster trust that can lead to a more flexible credit plans. It got to a stage where the company was even begging me to give me truckloads. I was carrying up to 3 trucks. Imagine, count it. If one truck takes about 3,000, it means that 3 trucks will take 9,000. I'll close the whole plaza any day I'm offloading my product. Why? Because I had demonstrated that I could be trusted. So when you do this well, you foster great trust that can lead to a more flexible credit terms that will empower the financial stability of your business. Whether you like it or not, the more money your business takes in, the more you, but you need to be very strategic so that you don't take in so much that you now end up wasting it, okay? So the number 6 is venture capital velocity. If you're getting value so far, I need to see that you're understanding what I'm saying, because I don't like talking that people don't follow. If you're getting value so far, let me hear you. And for those of you that will stay till the end of this class, I have an amazing gift for you. I love to give gifts. If you're getting value, let me see it in the chat box, okay? So the number 6 is what? Venture capital velocity. This one basically is for startups and small businesses that show high potential for growth. All right. Venture capitalists, they are those that will provide capital in exchange for equity in your company. Remember the other one I mentioned, I called it localized angel investors. They are different from this one. All right. So this is for startups. Your business must possess innovative ideas. You must have strong management team and potential for significant returns, amongst others, before you can have this kind of people. So there are the kind of businesses that can tap into this. Not every kind of business. The people in tech, people who can design design softwares, you have biotechs, people in e-commerce industry, people in healthcare, renewable energy, the fintech, financial services. If you are in this category, you know that this is where the world is moving. You can, you can actually look at using venture capital velocity, where they invest capital in your business, and then for that, they get an equity in your company. Remember I said, I used the least, I used 30%. 30% is better than nothing. But I don't want to give most of your right to an investor that will end up taking your company. So you need to be strategic, but understand that this equally can work for you. I saw something online, I think last week, a very new tech company, and it blew my mind. There's this thing people do when they're running, for those who are already into is it email marketing, who are already into selling things online. There is one you use email, there's one you use text messages and all that. So I saw a very small company took the disadvantage an existing company had and tweaked it and tackled that problem. So if you're into tech, you may have to think this way. I know one company like that, they send out text messages, but the problem they have is that the text messages have to be sent one after the other. And this other young company, what did they do? They found a way to make the text messages to send out in bulks. So it saves you time. What do you think will happen? When investors see that, okay, this one has this advantage over this one that has been in the market for a while, they will be able and willing to invest in your startup. But of course, you want to be sure that you're registered, okay? So that you're talking as a registered company, all right? All right, so let's move on Number 7 is what? Community-based organizations. What I'm telling you, they may not sound that there are things you know, but you may not have thought of doing those the way I am, telling them to you. So this one is where you seek loans from cooperative societies. I know you know that cooperative societies exist, but you never thought of going to them because you may think, okay, I'm not in this organization. There are big organizations that have their staff, they come around and they contribute parts of their money, they contribute some money, and they are willing and ready to give this out to startups for a token. All right, so you can seek loans from the cooperative societies or various big organizations whose staff come together to form such cooperative societies and are willing to give out loans to smaller registered firms for profit. So you need to be registered so that when they are dealing with you, they know that you're an entity that is recognized. And I equally wanted to do this. See, all the things I'm giving you are practical things. This one, I was going for this when my friends, colleagues, they now decided to invest from their personal pockets. But this, I had a meeting with the organizational heads. Let me give you a secret here. When you're going to seek out something, some of you are too scared to approach people. If you know me, why did I grew? Because I go to the head. If there is nothing you pick today, pick it. Do not be afraid. Nobody, what they can do is say no. And a no does nothing, absolutely nothing to you. It leaves you in precisely the same position you were before you approach the person. So when I go, if I'm going for an organization to talk to them, I don't go to some of you go to you just go and talk to security man will now talk to secretary will now talk. No, ask for who is in charge. Working boldly, talk to the head so that if they're going to do it with you, you will know. If they're not going to do it with you, you will know. I went to this organization and I wanted to speak to their head. I went for their head. If I hadn't gone for their head, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe it was the confidence they saw that made them say, okay, we can trust this person because she came to the organization. So if there is nothing you pick today, pick this. Pick this. All right. When you want to negotiate, go for the head so that. How did I get to supply foodstuff to all the secondary schools in FCT? I went to all the schools and when I go to the principal is the head of the school and I walk to the principal's office. You don't know what brought me here. You can't be asking me, can I see the principal? Is he on CT? Yes. And I go and discuss with the principal. Imagine if I had gone because it was food, I'll now go to the kitchen attendant and the kitchen attendant will now go to Bossa. No, you're wasting your time. So this is something you can equally try out, okay? There are so many organizations like this because people are more open. The country is as people are more open to making money from the site. They are more open to earning extra income, earning additional income. So they do a lot of things. You can channel your energy into this one and take money from them. As long as you pay, they will be willing and ready to invest. One of the ladies that invested in my business, she invested 7 million. When I wanted to pay her back, she was asking me, is there any problem? I said, no. In my head, I was like, I've been paying you now. You sit in your home and interest is dropping. I needed to release all of that. So I have the bonus for you. Remember, I said for those of you that will stay to the end, there is something amazing coming your way. But even at that, before I get to that, I said 7 ways, but I made it more than 7. And I will give you the 3 remaining ones as your bonus. They are the things you know. Innovative grants, okay? In my community today, I posted something. If you can equally listen to it now. The Tole Elumelu Foundation, you can apply for grants. So there are grants like that. You can strive to win grants and funds from organizations and foundations who give out such grants. All right. But this is basically like winning Olympics for startups. You have a lot of people who apply for it, but very few people get it. So you may try that. That's why I called it a bonus, because it's not what I can vouch that you will get. But every other one you listen to 1 to 7, do them and something good will come out of it. All right. Then you have the bank loans. I already said it. I tried, it didn't work. Does not mean that you will not get if you go for it. But one thing I learned is to make your business plan your charm. Banks love good stories. That's the second one. And the third one is what? There is this thing they call a job contribution. It works for people. I haven't done it before, but I know it works for some people. All right. It can be done by trusted individuals. It can be done by communities or microfinance banks. Research thoroughly though before embarking, because I've had situations where people ran away with people's money, and I've had situations where people used it to start their businesses. But you want to be sure that whoever you're going to do that with is someone you can trust. It's someone that has been doing it and you can actually do that. It works for people even that haven't done it before, but it's a method that you can look into. And then, when it's your turn, you pick it up and you start your business. All right, now that we've looked at all of this, there are certain misconceptions people have that may stop them from, going ahead. It's one thing to say this is what you should do. If you don't tackle the hidden problem, it keeps repeating itself. So let's look at some common misconceptions, all right, that have stopped you listening to me today from getting the finances you need. And I call that illusion of isolation. People often think that securing funds for their businesses is a sprint. It's not a sprint. They don't know that it is more like a team play. Connections, your credibility, your integrity, compelling story, a lot of things come together to make fundraising a success for you. So don't think that, okay, because it's just one thing, one uncle will give it to you. If this uncle doesn't give it to you, your world has scattered. No, you need to be ingenious, think out ways. Look at all the methods I talked about here today. I told you when I called all people and I told them for every 10,000 you get 500 naira. I told you that. I told you when someone's cousin invested. I told you when my friend invested. I told you how I started. All of these things coming together gave me what I eventually got. The second misconception is the quick fix success mirage. All right, people want it. You just wake up and your New Year resolution is to become an 8-figure earner by December 2024. How? You want to rob the bank? Even if you rob the bank, you may not even get that 8-figure. All right, because you're not going to be the only one to rob the bank. You're going to work with a team. If you go in there alone, quick fix success. Nurturing the overnight success illusion makes one disregard consistent effort, strategic planning, and resilience required for a sustainable financial backing. You need to understand that this is a marathon. What I've shown you today, you can implement in the next 30 days, you get this, but you need to understand that you start and you grow it and you nurture it and you grow it and you nurture it. You can't look at Tony Elumelu today, you want to be that. You're looking at somebody, you don't know the cries, you don't know the tears this person has shed. You just want to be that person. You need to understand that resilience must come to play for you to achieve any level of success, okay? All right. The third one is the myth that money solves all woes. Don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. Money solves all. I love to talk about money. The Bible says money answereth all things, okay? Money answereth all things, yeah, but understand that money has its play. We are referring to those who think that once they secure the funds, you want to do this business, you have not taken your time to do your research, you have not even launched the business. When we were young, we had this boy system that Igbos used to do. My father had a lot of Omo boy. I'm an Igbo woman. Maybe that's why I love money. Okay. That's on the lighter note, okay? So I had a lot of, but these days, boys don't like going for the boyo. They want to pay you to learn business. They don't want to be patient to go through the 4, 5 years, 6 years that they'll have to study under their boss, and then eventually the boss will settle them. They think that once they've learned the business, you give them the money, they go in and they start. Most times they start and they struggle. All right? So we're referring to those who think that once they secure the funds, all their business challenges will disappear. No! Securing the funds is one. You need to learn the rudiments of the business so that that business can grow and have taproot. So that anywhere you're dropped, you know what you're doing. Come on. These people often underestimate the ongoing commitment needed for success beyond the initial injection of capital. Capital is only the first step. There are a whole lot that is needed for your business to do well. The illusion that one size fits all. Did you see that for every level I got to, I had to adopt another method? There is no one size fits all. This fallacy makes people assume that the fundraising strategy that works for one business will surely work for another one. Remember what I said, for those in the tech, I gave you that other one that may work basically for you, all right? There are nevertheless some underlying factors that never change. Factors like having an articulate business plan. Even if you don't write, just know what you want. I didn't write any professional business plan, but I had my thoughts well articulated. I had my record well put in place. And that thing has saved me numerous issues I wouldn't want to say here. So always keep a track record of what you're doing. And then the last one there is fear of rejection. Fear of the unknown, fear of your previous failure, fear of what people will tell you, fear of what people will say, fear. One thing I came to understand is that fear happens to both the rich and the poor. Fear happens to both the successful and the unsuccessful, but the result is what differentiates both. The successful person works irrespective of the fear. The unsuccessful person lets the fear cripple him or her. And that's why I said that this is arguably the most limiting factor for business owners, as they perceive it as personal failures. Once anybody says no, they think, oh, it's me that's saying no. No. There was an experiment I did one time in one of the businesses I did, and I was going for the no's. I saw something, a documentary online, and someone said that he hit his first $10,000 when he started going for no's. And I said, okay. And I started going for no's. I said every day I'll sit down and I'll get 10 no's, or more. Getting no's are that more difficult than getting yeses when you're looking for the no's. But guess what? Before you could get 10 no's, do you know how many yeses you get? Understand that the person saying no to you is not saying no to your person. He's saying no to that opportunity at that time, maybe because he isn't ready, or he didn't understand well. What you need to do is to go back to the drawing board. What exactly did I not say well? And then you represent it to the person again. So if you're held down by fear, you may not go so far in business. You need to tackle this fear that has crippled you for so long. All right? You need to tackle this fear. And now I told you that for those of you that will stay till the end, that I have an amazing gift for you. And it's called the CEO Chick Academy. All right? I know that we have listened to how to make money. We have listened to how to raise the money. But some of you are saying, but I don't even know the business I want to go into. I am tired of this, my job. The job is not jobbing again. The job is not giving me enough for my family. I want to be an entrepreneur. How do I go about it? What do I even want to go into? What line of business am I even going to go into? I don't even know. I'm even confused. This is a problem for so many people. And that's why the CEO Chick Academy was created. We know that the human mind has a lot. As you progress in life, as you grow, there are so many things you've had as passion. You had your passion when you were growing up. You have your passion now, and you have your dreams. Which of them can you monetize? That is the answer the CEO Chick Academy has come to give you. It's a unique coaching program to help you discover the business idea that suits your personality and build a profitable business out of it. Our vision is to create as many financially stable women as possible. We know that while we may not be able to change the world, we can change one family at a time. The best way to change a family is to empower the woman there. And on a lighter note, men have side chicks, Abby, and the women have side bobos. Any money a woman is getting is going to the family, the children, the parents, So we have come to understand that if we can collectively empower the average African woman, empower the Nigerian woman, we may be able to begin to circumvent the vices in our country today. We are not here to preach, but this is what we have dedicated our lives to do now. And that's what the CEO Chick Academy is created for. What do you stand to benefit if you're a part of CEO Chick Academy? You have access to more than 30 video lessons. We hold you by the hand, all right? We ensure that you get that support. We ensure that you set down your business idea and you start it and you maximize it and you build it to 7 figures. 7 figures is our ultimate. We have built 8, 9, but at least get to 7 before we scale it up. And we have our CEO Chick Tribe. It's a support community where we have the like-minded go-getters. We support ourselves. We ensure that success is the ultimate aim for everyone. We have periodic question and answer sessions. We have, like I said, we are not just theory. It's not just about theory. We give you practical steps. So now we're giving you more than 100 business idea lists that you can pick from, that you can tweak something from. You can take 1 or 2 and you merge it together and you build something that will be unique to your personality. That is the secret. You don't want to play in the field where everybody's playing and you just come, you'll be lost in the crowd. You want to build a product that will be unique to you. And that is what the CEO Chick Academy does for you. All right, by giving you this more than 100 business idea list that you can pick from. Then you have, we give you a discount as well. We give you, I have my book coming out, The Limitless Woman. This is supposed to be for those that got it. The one we pre-launch CEO Chick Academy. I don't know if I'll give it to people today. Let me see how the spirit leads. All right, there is even more More things you benefit by being a part of CEO Chick Academy. More. I love to give value. That's what we stand for. All right, that is what we stand for. The system to run a successful business while being a wife and mom. I am a wife, I am a mother as well. I have teenage children, so I have experienced all that. I know how difficult it is. When you're trying to stand on your ground, you know that you have something to give to the world. You know that you have something to create. You know that you have mouths to feed, and then you have your children, you have your husband. How do you merge these two? How do you be a good mom, a good wife, and still be financially stable? The CEO Chick Academy will give you the secret to that. We'll give you a strategy to build competence and influence so that you cannot be marginalized. There is a level of competence you have. This gender inequality will not come your way. There is. Who is the CEO of Transcorp Hilton? A woman. Olushola Dupe. A woman. And she's doing so well. So what makes you think that you as a woman won't do well? You can. The world we live in today, the gender is no longer an issue, as long as you find a way to balance the two. We will show you how to access business funding. As we get them, we keep putting them down there in the CEO Chick Tribe. That's one of the things you benefit by being a member of the CEO Chick Tribe. That's a place you want to be. You have access to coaching and mentorship, all right? We show you how to build your self-confidence. Self-confidence is one thing you need to have if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay, we show you how to navigate unsupportive and uninspiring spouse and environment. Some of us, this is our undoing. Some ladies say the unsupportive environment you're talking about is even your spouse. As painful as that is, you must find a way. You must find a way to work around it. Okay, if the partner that is not supportive is the boyfriend, it's a different thing. You can decide to drop the boyfriend. But what if the person is a husband? Are you going to divorce your husband? You just have to find a way to circumvent that. So we'll show you how to leverage technology as well. That is where the world is going to. How to leverage technology to drive growth without feeling overwhelmed. These are a lot that you gain by being a member of the CEO Chick Academy. Is there more? Is there more? Let's see. All right, we show you all of this, and as well, we give you templates and toolkits that you can implement. This is a practical community here. How do you become a member of the CEO Chick Academy? If you love what you heard today, we have a lot more coming from where this one came from. To be a part of the CEO Chick Academy, the price is only 49,000 Naira. But I have a gift, like I said. For those of you that will stay till the end, I have a gift. For those that will be paying from this webinar, you're getting it for half the price. The only time we did this was last year when it was pre-launch, but somehow the Spirit led me to do this in this webinar. I'm sure that my teammates will be wondering, what is wrong with Mrs. Anodere? Why is she doing this today? But I'm doing it for those that will be connecting through this webinar. For some reason, I know that people are struggling, and that's why we picked on this topic, because that is what people will need to hear. Okay, so for those that are paying in this webinar, you get it for half the price, 24,900. So on your screen now, you have the account details of the company. You can pay in there, or you can choose to go to ceochickacademy.com, www.ceochickacademy.com. How did I do this? After this meeting, now we're going to do something that we've not done before. I'm going to have the technical team change the price on the landing page to 24,900 for the next 24 hours. For the next 24 hours. So if you get it within the next 24 hours, you're going to get it at this price. But let me do something amazing now. If there's anybody here who wants to be a part of this, I can even reduce this from 24,900. No, hold on. Let me not say that. Give me a second. Give me a second. All right. So if you pay now or within the next 24 hours, this offer is closing by tomorrow evening. You're getting it at the price of 24,900. By this time tomorrow evening, the price goes up to 49,000 Naira. All right, so this is the time for question and answer. If you have any question, feel free to raise your hand and you will be allowed. You'll be unmuted. While people are asking the questions, I need us to come to the chat box. Let me know one thing that resonated with you. We are still within 60 minutes. Fantastic. I said I'll do it and I did it. So let me know one thing that resonated with you. What is your takeaway from this class today? What did you pick from what you heard here today? Type it in the chat box. What did you pick from what we have discussed here today? Okay, I'm seeing great value, fear is crippling, valuable. I want to see you write down what did you take away from this class today? And then this is the period for question and answer as well. And then we'll close. Someone asked me privately, if you pay now, I have a gift for you. Tackle your fear. Nancy Akban, fantastic. Tackle your fear. And I gave you one way to tackle your fear. Walk straight to the head of whatever you want, wherever you want to work with. Do not be afraid. The worst they can tell you is a no. Start with what you know or have. Fantastic, Engineer Emmy. For those that will pay while this session is on, I have a gift for you. I have a gift for you. Are these the only two people that learned something today? If you have a question, pen it down. If you have a question, pen it down. And what did you pick out from it today? Let me do something amazing. I can defend it. I want to do something. I want to change this. Someone asked me a question. What do you have for those who want to pay now? Okay. When we had our pre-launch, we gave it out to those that paid there and then 20,000. But I wasn't going to do that today. But for this private question, I will do that. So if you want to pay now in this class now, you get it for 20,000. But outside this class, 24,900 in the next 24 hours. If you want to pay, admin, drop it there. If you want to pay while this class is on, you can make your transfer of 20,000 naira. If you want to pay after the class within 24 hours, it's 24,900. After that, it goes back to 49,000. I just joined. Really? You said a brief summary of what the program is about. We can't do that now. I hope we get a replay, okay? I hope we get a replay for you. Okay, Bala said to attract investors, you said 5 things, but you mentioned 3. Okay, I said 5 things. I mentioned 5 of them. I said no long story. Make it brief. In 2 minutes, you should be done with what you're saying. If it has to write, if it's something you need to write, the first page should tell exactly what it is you want to do. I said no long story. Draw up a plan. Show your track record. Okay, no matter how little it is, show your little track record. Be bold and confident. Let the passion flow. Those are the things I said. No long story, all right? Make it brief, Angels love speed. Draw up a plan, show your little track record, your business track record, be bold and confident, let the passion flow. All right, Jane said, build great business and partnership connections. No man is an island. Fantastic. Fantastic. So the account details are there. If you want to pay now, 20,000. If you don't want to pay now, within 24 hours, you get it for 24,900. After 24 hours, it goes back to 49,000. All right. So in the absence of any question, we bring this to a close. It's been an amazing time. I'm glad you got value today. All right. Someone said, thank you, ma. I learned that I should start with what I have and also learn how to save profits from business. Fantastic. By the way, if you haven't read that book, go and pick it up now and read. I have read it multiple times. I'm still reading it again. The Richest Man in Babylon. You will learn how to make your, take a part of your earnings, save it. The beautiful thing is, whatever you save, whatever is remaining will still be enough for you. It's an illusion to think that when you save your money, the rest will not be enough. Save. And you don't just stop at saving. Let that money yield something for you. Okay? Yeah, you learned. Okay, fine. I love that you learned something. Okay. Build great business. Okay. I think I've read out the start with what you know and have. All right. So thank you everyone for keeping a date with me today. All right. Catch you guys very soon when we decide to bring another fantastic training your way. Until then, I remain your humble servant, Mrs. Chinoya Nadere. God bless you. Bye.